Because shadows don't just hide, they knock. Arthur thought his home was unbreakable, fortified by code, steel, and silence. But when something without a face stands at his door and whispers his name, even the smartest systems can't tell you what's real anymore. Because some visitors don't break in, they are invited. And once you hear the knocking at midnight, it might already be too late. This is 9 Lives of Fear.
Midnight held its breath until Aegis shattered the silence with a single chime. The digital tones sliced through the summer air, heavy with jasmine and the soft chorus of crickets. I was hunched over a complex circuit diagram when my phone vibrated with a notification that froze my blood. Motion detected at front door. My initial reaction was annoyance, thinking it was just a local cat triggering the advanced AI. But Aegis, my trusted fortress of integrated technology, was impenetrable. The high-definition cameras, triple-lock doors, biometric scanners, and AI-powered system make it a secure haven. Yet tonight, something breached that security. I tapped the notification, and the live feed from my video doorbell flickered to life. The screen displayed my porch in crisp, full-spectrum night vision. However, the floodlights, usually quick to engage, were subdued, casting long, wavering shadows. And there, standing on the porch mat, was an entity that defied explanation. It was roughly human-sized, an impossible silhouette that absorbed light instead of reflecting it. The high-definition clarity seemed to pixelate around its edges, blurring and shimmering as if the camera struggled to wrench something it couldn't comprehend. My breath caught in my throat as a cold dread seeped into my bones. The entity's presence was formless and shifting, like a dark stain on the air. I searched for a defining feature, a limb, a head, but there was none. Just a void, a shape that seemed to absorb the surrounding light. The initial annoyance gave way to a primal fear as I realized my domestic safety had been breached. A second chime, more insistent this time, seemed to echo through my very being. The entity subtly leaned forward, an imperceptible shift in its featureless mass. My smart lock, once a robust barrier, now felt like a thin sheet of glass, a fragile shield holding back something utterly inimical. "Hello," I whispered, my voice caught in my throat. The question was a primal instinct against the encroaching unknown. The silence from outside was profound, broken only by a faint, almost imperceptible static from the intercom. Then it spoke. The voice was a paradox, a synthesized echo that mimicked human distress with an almost perfect pitch.
"Please,"
it whispered, a sound like dry leaves skittering across pavement, yet imbued with heartbreaking vulnerability.
"let me in. I'm lost."
My hand clenched involuntarily as I took my phone closer, the screen illuminating my pale face. The uncanny valley phenomenon hit me with full force. It wasn't quite human, but it was close enough to disturb. Who is this?" I managed, my voice a strained whisper amplified through the intercom. A pause followed, and then the voice returned, softer and more pleading.
"I know you, Arthur. You live here. I need help. It's cold out here."
The voice knew my name, and a chill ran down my spine. How did it know? Aegis was air-gapped from most public networks, protected by layers of encryption I'd designed myself. This wasn't a hacker. This was something else entirely. A soft thump, a gentle knock, reverberated through the glass and wood of the front door.
"Please."
The voice whimpered again, now layered with what sounded like a sob. It was too much. The mimicry was too precise. My mind screamed that it was a trick, an illusion, but my gut coiled with a fear that transcended logic. The knocking synced with my own frantic heartbeat, a relentless, rhythmic beat pounding against the silence of my home. The intercom feedback, a faint, high-pitched whine, oscillated in perfect synchronicity with the physical vibrations coming from the doorframe. I checked Aegis's logs. The AI motion sensors had flagged the visitor as unknown entity, anomaly detected. It refused to categorize it as human, animal, or even a drone. It was simply unknown. A chilling thought surfaced. My advanced technology, the very thing I relied on for safety, was completely bewildered. Aegis, with all its intricate algorithms and deep learning capabilities, was effectively useless against this entity. I tried to override the system, activating every floodlight, every siren, every security measure at once. But nothing worked. The system lagged, and the screen froze. The porch lights dimmed and flickered erratically, mirroring the relentless thump-thump-thump from the door. It was as if the shadow was manipulating the very infrastructure of my home, bending Aegis to its will. The ambient light of the porch plunged into near-total darkness, interrupted only by the sickly stuttering glow.
Arthur,
The voice, now clearer and more insistent, echoed from the doorbell. The pleading tone was gone, replaced by something colder, more demanding.
let me in. It's time.
I stumbled backward, tripping over a discarded data cable, adrenaline coursing through me. I scrambled to my feet, my eyes fixed on the screen, a primal, unreasoning panic seizing me. Driven by a desperate impulse, I stood at the front door, my hand outstretched, not to open it, but to press my palm against the cool, unforgiving glass. My reflection, distorted and fear-stricken, stared back at me. Beyond it, on the screen of my phone held tightly in my other hand, the formless silhouette loomed. Thump, thump, thump. The rhythmic knocking had taken on an unervingly human cadence, mirroring the frantic pulse throbbing in my temples. The glass vibrated beneath my touch, a tangible connection to the impossible entity on the other side. My internal alarm siren screamed, a silent protest against the breakdown of logic occurring right before my eyes. The integrated alarm sirens, the physical ones mounted on the exterior, finally shrieked to life, piercing the night with a deafening wail. The security floodlights, after their brief, terrifying manipulation, now blazed on, bathing the porch in a harsh, unforgiving white. Yet the shadow remained. It didn't flinch. It didn't recoil. If anything, it seemed to intensify, its darkness deepening against the sudden onslaught of light. It was utterly impervious. Through the lens of my video doorbell, through the physical pane of glass mere inches from my face, I stared at a formless entity that, despite its lack of features, demanded to be recognized, demanded to be a guest. Its voice, though no longer speaking, felt amplified by the sheer force of its silent presence. It was an isolation I had never known, a profound aloneness where even my own senses seemed to betray me. The barrier wasn't protecting me. It was simply a thin membrane, a fragile screen showing me exactly what was waiting to tear through. Then, as abruptly as it began, it left. The knocking ceased. The intercom went silent. The static died down to a faint hiss. The relentless, pulsing gloom of the silhouette receded, not by moving away, but by fading, dissolving like ink dropped into water. It stretched, thinned, and then simply wasn't there. One moment, the oppressive void filled my porch. The next, only the empty, brightly lit space remained, the alarm sirens still wailing futilely into the post-midnight stillness. I stood there, gasping, my hands still pressed against the cool glass, until my knees buckled. In the aftermath was a silent, creeping dread. The doorbell footage, saved by Aegis's cloud server, was a corrupted mess. The initial seconds were crystal clear, but as the shadow appeared, the frames became distorted, pixelated, riddled with strange digital artifacts. Static that moved, lines of code I couldn't decipher, impossibly deep blacks that seemed to swallow even the digital light. There were even moments where the timestamps seemed to jump backward. It was a chaotic signature, a digital scar left behind on my supposedly impenetrable system. I spent sleepless nights poring over the data, searching for an explanation, a logical flaw, anything. There was nothing, just the impossible footage, a testament to an encounter that defied all known physics and security protocols. My smart home, once a sanctuary, was now a source of lasting paranoia. Every chime, every notification, every flicker of a light sent a jolt of ice through my veins. The sophisticated AI that once brought me comfort now feels like a complicit observer, or worse, a compromised system. Was it truly secure? Or had it merely served as an open channel, an invitation? I still live here in my meticulously designed smart home, but the feeling of safety is gone. The video doorbell, once a symbol of protection, now feels like a constant reminder of what waits beyond the glass. Was the security barrier truly a shield designed to keep me safe, or merely a flimsy countdown, a temporary pause before an inevitable entry? Now I check the logs every night, watching the empty porch through the camera feed, waiting for the shadow to return. Maybe it will ask to be let in again, or maybe next time it won't bother asking.
Arthur built a fortress of technology to keep the world out. But what happens when the thing outside doesn't belong to this world at all? Maybe the real horror was never the shadow at the door, but the fact that something out there knew exactly who to become in order to be let in. And the question that lingers long after the silence returns is this: did it leave? Or did it simply learn a better way to come back? Because in the end, even silence can feel like it's listening. And tonight, if you hear a knock that doesn't belong, don't answer it. Good night and sleep carefully. Not everything that fades is gone. You've survived another tale from 9 lives of fear, but don't get comfortable. If the shadows whispered to you tonight, hit like before they whisper again. Share this video with someone who thinks they're brave. Let's see how long their courage lasts. And subscribe, because around here, every click feeds the darkness, and the darkness remembers. Where the shadows linger long after the story ends. Stay scared.